Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I don't do a lot of these preview videos because I think there are people that do them better. You know, like probably Chris Andre does very good videos, preview videos, and he breaks it all down, the fight, how he thinks it's going to go. Punch Perfect Boxing, Jamie does some very good videos, and I just think I'll let them get on with it because their videos are really good, and I don't really have much to add. But there is one fight that I want to mention, and apart from anything else, I want to mention it because I think people are in danger. I think it's a very good potential fight, very good fight, but I think people are in danger of missing it because it's actually on a Friday coming, not the Saturday, and that's the British title fight, super welterweight title fight between the champion Troy Williamson and the challenger Josh Kelly. Now, I think this is potentially a great fight because the gelling of the styles is, again, I'm using the word potentially because things can sometimes disappoint us. The gelling of the styles may produce a little British title classic. And if you've watched my videos before, you'll know I'm a big fan of the domestic scene. I think a lot of the area title fights are fantastic. Really slip under the radar totally. And the British title fights very often are, again, very, very good fights, very memorable fights. And I think this could be one of them. Now, the styles, let's talk a bit about Troy Williamson, first of all, because he's the champion. Troy Williamson is 19 wins, no defeats, and 1 draw. And the draw was an 8-rounder against Jack Flatley when Jack Flatley was undefeated. And that was back in 2018. And since then, he went on to pick up, I think the IBF European title. To me, there's only one European title that matters, and that's the EBU title. But nevertheless, he picked up the IBF European super welter title. I think I'm right in saying he's a career super welterweight. And he's really big, he's looked the part. Now, he's 31 years old. And he didn't start fighting until he's 17. And there was a little sort of head-to-head interview with Anthony Crolla chairing it between Williamson and Kelly. And Williamson was saying that he actually looked up to Kelly and other fighters because he himself started late, and so he was looking at these guys and thinking, I wish I was that good. And then, of course, he made strides through hard work and the old hard work and dedication mantra. And he became, British champion in a fantastic war with Ted Cheeseman. That was in 2021, October 2021. So not that long ago. I thought it was longer than that, but no, I looked it up and it's only like a year ago, or just over a year ago. Cheeseman came in 17 wins, 2 defeats, and 1 draw, and it was an absolute war. And Cheeseman actually shook Williamson badly. In, I think it was the 9th round, the round before he himself got knocked flat by an enormous left hook. And Cheeseman was, he soaks up punishment like, talk about a concrete jaw. But of course, even concrete can be cracked. And throughout his career, he's soaked up horrendous amounts of punishment. And in that 10th round against Williamson, it looked like he was on the verge of winning. He got flattened by, like I say, just this enormous left hook. Go and have a look at it on YouTube. It's hell of a knockout. But so that was the British title win for Troy Williamson. He then defended against Mason Cartwright. And that was a unanimous 12-round decision, but he was on the floor in the 2nd round, Williamson was. And it does show that at least he can be put down. At least he's not infallible, because if you can do 10 rounds with Ted Cheeseman at a frenetic pace and soak up punishment and beat him at his own game, you're clearly a tough guy. But even tough guys, if they get hit cleanly, they can go on the floor. And this was an early knockdown. I think it was the 2nd round Cartwright put him over. And if there is a knock against Williamson, it's that he does start slowly. Now, Williamson is a sort of up and down, bread and butter sort of fighter. Nothing flashy at all. Very, very much a pressure fighter. I don't see him going beyond European level, but he's the type of fighter, you look at him and you think this guy didn't start boxing when he was 6 or 7. He started when he was probably in his mid to late teens, and that is absolutely the case with Williamson. He doesn't have a lot of slickness. He doesn't have a lot of what you would call finesse or natural athleticism, but he is a hard grinding fighter who put educated pressure on you and keeps on coming and will walk through fire. And when you look at his record, because after he beat Mason Cartwright, he had a non-title fight, an 8-round, I think it was, against David Benitez, the guy. It was just a run around. But at least he kept busy. I mean, that was his second fight in 2022, and this will be his third. This one against Kelly will be his third. So by today's standards, that's relatively busy. But the fact that he had that little run, with the IBF European title, and the fact that he fought some good, undefeated fights. He fought Kieran Smith when he was undefeated and stopped him in 6. Like I say, he had that draw with Flatley. That he was undefeated at the time. Even Ben Douglas, I think, was undefeated, although I think he only had 2 or 3 fights, Douglas, at the time. But nevertheless, Harry Scarf was 8-1, I think, and one maybe a draw in there, but he had a decent record. What all this does is it makes you battle hardened, and it makes you if there's one thing that Williamson has shown, it's that he is a tough man and capable of doing that 12-round distance at a steady, grinding, draining pace. Now, let's talk a bit about Josh Kelly, because bearing all that in mind, let's see, what does Josh Kelly bring to the table? Well, Kelly is kind of the antithesis of Williamson. He is a flash and dash fighter, extremely sharp, very, very naturally athletic, almost balletic in some of his moves. I mean, he beautiful movement, extremely hard, sharp punches. Even in that defeat against David Avanesyan, very early on, he was landing some, ominously sharp punches. I mean, real laser-like, lovely straight punches, and varied his work very well. And it just looked like he was, for the first 2 rounds, it looked like he was having fun against Avanesyan. However, as we know, he unravelled very, very quickly and very, very badly against Avanesyan. And that was this would be the 3rd fight against Williamson fight. Would be the 3rd fight since the Avanesyan disaster, if you like. The Avanesyan defeat was in 2021 in February. So we're talking 22 months. This will only be his 3rd fight, Kelly. And you have to ask the question, because he did unravel so badly. I mean, he had a cut on the back of his head. He had a cut on his eye, I think his right eye. And the blood seemed to bug him. It seemed to bother him. It wasn't just the blood that was seeping out of him. It was almost like the energy was going. And mentally, he seemed to, like I say, unravel. That's the perfect word to describe what I saw anyway. And of course, Avanesyan is not the man that you need to show any kind of weakness for. He'll exploit it, and he just chewed up Kelly and stopped him in 6 rounds. That was for the EBU European welterweight title, which is another point, because Kelly has only recently moved up to super welterweight, where he says he's much more comfortable, he's much stronger, and so on and so forth. But let's not forget that the battle-hardened Williamson has been a career super welter. And that, what is it now? 140, it's 7 pounds difference, half a stone. That can be a factor in any long, draining fight. So the flash, the dash, the cavalier sort of sharp highlight reel moves all come from Josh Kelly, whereas these slow, steady Eddie, that the mental pressure that is put on through educated pressure fighting is something that should never be overlooked, because it isn't just the fact that Kelly will have to, over 12 rounds, 36 minutes, will have to somehow contain the physicality of Williamson. He'll have to also be on guard, so that mentally on guard, so that psychologically he doesn't, again, I use the word unravel. That's what it appeared to me to be in the Avanesyan fight. Mentally, he was coming apart at the seams. That's a long time. 36 minutes of fighting is a long time to soak up that type of pressure, mental pressure as well as physical pressure. Now, is it possible that Williamson, or rather, let me start with Kelly. Is it possible that Kelly can win early in the fight? Yes, I think it is. I think he is such a, when he's early on, when he's fresh, when he's got all his energy there, he's kind of vibrant, he's on it, he's focused, he's motivated, no pressure on him. Those early rounds when he's a fast starter, yeah, it's possible he could get Williamson, who is a slow starter, out of there early. It's not impossible. I mean, Williamson, I would say, is mentally the stronger, physically stronger, and probably, again, I'll use the phrase battle-hardened. But is it possible Kelly could catch him early, catch him cold, beat him up so much in the first 3, maybe 4 rounds that Williamson is left so depleted he can't keep up that steady eddy pressure? Is that possible? Yeah, of course it is. Absolutely, absolutely. But I think a more likely scenario is that Williamson will ride out some early bad patches where he's going to have to dig deep. He's going to have to soak up a lot of punishment and stay mentally focused and mentally determined and take Kelly into the mid sort of round 7, 8. At that point, I think we will see Kelly he's slowed down and he will begin to wilt. And I think that, I'm saying around about the 8th round that'll happen. And then I think Kelly his athleticism, his pride will keep him going for another few rounds. But I think eventually Williamson will get him. And I'm going for, my prediction is, an 11th round TKO or knockout by Troy Williamson over Josh Kelly. I think it will be the 11th round. That's going to be my prediction. Like I say, I don't often make these predictions. I just think Williamson has a bit too much about him, a bit too much. He's been in the furnace, he's been in the fire, and he knows that he can go through a tough fight like the Ted Cheeseman one. He knows that he can, earlier on in his career, he took on like a Flatley who was undefeated, he got a draw. He's done that European, that sort of quasi-European title thing, the IBF European title. He's held that. That'll give him a bit of confidence, even though it's not really the real European title. He's going to be, in his mind, he's going to be thinking, I'm European level. He goes back to British level. He not only has he won the title in a firefight, he's defended it. He came off the floor against Mason Cartwright, so he knows he can face a bit of adversity and come back. And I think the Mason Cartwright fight, although I don't think that was Williamson at his best. I think Williamson can be too pedestrian. He can plod a bit. But over 12 rounds, rather than say 8 or 10, over 12 rounds, I think that's enough time for him to get his mojo going, get his work rate going, vary his punches, do some body work maybe, land some good head punches as well. He does that. I'd like to see him fire more punches, Williamson, than he actually does. I think he can be a bit too economical with the punches. But I see him definitely overcoming some early dangerous patches when Kelly is fresh, taking over in rounds 7, 8, 9, and then stopping Josh Kelly in the 11th round. That's my prediction. Let me know what you think. Let me know your opinion, your predictions. Leave your comments below, because like I keep saying, I always enjoy reading your comments. Thank you for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe. Lovely. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you like the video as well. And I appreciate your time as always. So let me know what you think. Good fight. Don't forget, it's on Friday, not Saturday. Friday, not Saturday. Don't forget about this one, because I think it's going to be a good one. Anyway, take care for now. We'll speak again soon. Bye-bye for now.